Hello, my name is Lindsay. Welcome back to my garden for our week 3 full garden tour. Now this week things look very different, and I'm going to say that every single week from here on out, but things do look super different. Everything is planted. And when I say everything, I mean like everything. The peppers are in. Well, okay, that's a lie. It's a lie. There are some flowers that are not in. But all the plants that produce food are in the garden. So let's take a look. For those of you that are new here, I am in South Central Indiana in Zone 6A, and most of my stuff went in the garden a couple weeks ago. It's now the end of May. So my garden is a completely in-ground garden. It's about 300 square feet. Now I do have some things in containers this year. I have this lettuce tower back here that's full of goodies, and I also have some grow bags, which you may be able to see this tomato cage right here. That's actually in a grow bag, and I'll show you what's in that in a second. But let's get started on this garden tour, and I will show you all the different types of ways that I'm growing my own food. So it just started kind of spitting rain, so hopefully I can get through all this. I moved back to the front of the garden, which is where I have a little garden gate, and this is where we're gonna start. So first, right here, right inside the gate, we have this grow bag. These are just 5-gallon grow bags. This one is full of carrots. I have Danvers half longs and a variety called Parisan, which are just like little round carrots. This grow bag actually needs to scoot back because I have another grow bag I'm going to put in its place. This flower right here is absolutely gorgeous right now. It is starting to like cascade out of this pot, and the color is so deep and beautiful, and I just love it. This is a lavender that I planted last year, and it came back and it's starting to get like little like blooms on it. And so that's super exciting. I can't wait for it to be covered in little blooms again. In front of that we have some dill. And this is really starting to grow. This was something that I started from seed and then transplanted out, but I also direct sowed some dill in the lettuce tower. So next is this tomato. This is called the Black Seaman. This is a determinate tomato, so it only gets so big. It doesn't just keep growing like an indeterminate would. It has some flowers on it. The leaves up here look really healthy that are coming out. And I think, actually I don't know if this blossom's been pollinated or not. You'll see me do this a lot while we're out here doing garden tours and such to my tomato flowers. This is me attempting to pollinate my tomato plants. Now last year I just went through and tapped my tomato flowers a lot, like all the time, and I would say I had a really good tomato year last year for what I grew. Tomato plants do not require a male and female flower to make fruit. The plants are what are called self-pollinating plants. So it's the pollen in that flower just has to move around, and then it pollinates itself. So by just tapping the flower clusters, or some people use like an electric toothbrush just to kind of like move them around, I just tap them. It works the same. If you do that, there's a higher chance of you getting fruit, especially if the pollinators in your area are kind of non-existent, or they haven't really come back yet, or they're just missing plants. So next to this Black Seaman tomato is my bean patch. Now you'll notice that this looks a little sparse compared to all of this. And actually, this is a weed. This isn't even a bean. This is a bean. You'll note that it only has one leaf. This is a bean. You'll note that it has been eaten. And then there's some bean leaves laying right there that appears to have come off this bean plant. So I have something in here. Like this is missing a leaf. I'm not quite sure what that something is yet, but yeah, this is leaves from this bean right here. So these non-existent beans are called the jade bush beans, and these are called top crop. These are both green beans, and then these are called royal burgundy, and they are like a dark purple bean. These all came up perfectly fine. These did not. So I'm not really sure what the deal is with these beans in particular. I did everything the same for all 3 of these varieties, but those struggled. Meanwhile, these look pretty good, aside from being eaten by question mark. Now if we move on down here, you can see some red because I have been harvesting strawberries, and this one appears that a bird has gotten to it. So the strawberry patch, this is the very first year that I have been harvesting berries off of it. I have harvested like a dozen berries off of these plants every day for the last 2 days. So I guess that's not really every day, but the last 2 days. But like, look at these. Berries, berries, berries. This makes me super happy. Like, just look how lush this is. I just love it. And then down here, I have a little pot here, like a little seedling pot. I'm going to try to propagate some strawberries for Katie, my friend, and see how that goes. So if we turn back around, I have some zinnias right here. I'm gonna plant a couple more down through here. They are actually in the greenhouse, germinating right now. And then we have the lettuce tower. And this thing is truly a thing of beauty. There's a lot in here. This Thai basil is getting super lush and happy. There's some cilantro, thyme, oregano, some marigolds, some basil down there, and also up here. There's still some kale in here. This is red Russian, or ragged jack is what it's also called. There's a little rosemary in here, and some lemon balm that looks kind of sad, and I'm not really sure why. It looked totally fine earlier. I do not know. But yeah, like it just looks a little bit limp. It smells so good though. I wonder if it's because it was in the sun. I don't know. There's some more dill in here. This up here is the Rocky Top lettuce blend from Baker Creek. Yeah, look at this. This marigold is broken. This was not broken like when I was out here like 2 hours ago. So I think something's been in here. And like this is an oregano that looks a little sad. I think I may have had a bird in here or something, because I don't know why this would suddenly be broken off at the stem. That's weird. I have some more cilantro up here. This is parsley, some chives. I've been harvesting off these. Some more kale, some more thyme, another marigold. I planted some more basil and cilantro seeds in here last night or the night before. So it's coming along. It looks kind of gross because there's like the dirt kind of splashes back, but whatever. Now down here, this still has no mulch. I know I said I was gonna mulch this and I still haven't, but yeah, it's still on the list. So first, right here, these are the purple potted pole beans, and they are coming up super nice. I mean, this is they're almost to the first rung of the cattle panel. They do have some bug damage. I need to come out here and spray some neem, but it has rained a little bit every day. These are the rattlesnake pole beans, and they also came up super nice. Like every bean I planted over here came up, which is awesome. And then we have our garlic tub right here, which is, it can't stay right here, but I just don't know where else to put it. So this is where it lives for now. If we go down here next to the beans, this is 1.5 Minnesota midget cantaloupe starts. This one has a leaf missing, and it appears that this is one right here that has also been eaten. So next to our Minnesota Midget cantaloupes, we have crimson sweet watermelons, and we have one right here. And I think that this is 2 right here. So that is exciting. And then in the middle of this arch, ignore this grass, is this pot that I have some spinach in, and it's starting to come in. And then we also have some more of the Rocky Top lettuce. And I tried to plant these a little farther apart to see if I could get some bigger leaves. And it looks like I did a pretty, maybe okay job. We'll have to wait and see how big these leaves get. Next to that, on the other side of this trellis, we have our Green Dragon burpless cucumbers. And there's 2 of those. You'll note they also have bug damage. And then next to that is supposed to be some Muncher cucumbers, but I don't see any. So I may actually replant these seeds and just kind of see what happens. Next to that is the peas. These peas are doing amazing. I picked, I think 4 today to have with lunch. This is the Mammoth Melting Snow Pea, and this is the Golden Sweet Pea, and they are starting to come into it. There are peas on both of these plants. There's another one, and there are 2. These green ones are a little bit harder to see because they blend in, but yeah, like here's one, here's a green one. And they are yummy, yummy. So these are doing super well right now. It did get really hot this week, and so I was a little bit worried about them kind of petering out on me, but I think they're gonna be okay. The temperatures are supposed to drop back down into the 70s, which I think is like prime weather for peas. So they should keep going, I think, for a little while at least. And then we hit our first grow bag. So this is a tomato plant. This is a ghost cherry, and it has absolutely taken off in this grow bag. I mean, it is insane. It has grown probably 4 or 5 inches in the last week. And I just have it in here with like a wood stake. This is about 5 feet tall. And I'm just gonna tie it to this as it grows. Now we are headed into this area, which obviously you'll note still has mostly no mulch. There's some down here, and that's it. So let's see, let's start with these grow bags. So these grow bags are the same grow bags I have everything else in. They have squash in them. And the squash are going to be held up with these tomato cages. Now, I don't use tomato cages for tomatoes. I used to use tomato cages for tomatoes all the time, and they always kind of turned out to be a pain in the butt. And I got to the point where the last time I used them, I actually cut the cages off the plants when the plants were done, because they were so just entwined in the plants themselves that I was like, yeah, I can't get these out. So I just cut them off. But for things like squash and peppers and that kind of thing, they work beautifully. So this is a delicata squash, and it is like, it's so happy in this grow bag. I just love it. So as this gets bigger, I'm gonna tuck the leaves up like this and out this tomato cage. And so that way it's not spilling out of this grow bag, because as you can see, like obviously, like I don't have that much room out here to put a bunch of squash. So I haven't done squash until this. So this is a delicata. This over here is a yellow crookneck, and again, looks super happy. And I also think I have my first female blossom down here. There it is. So we'll see how that goes. And then back here is an Italian striped zucchini. And it's smaller because it's just started from seed, but it is in there. This is the Italian striped zucchini. This is a zucchini my grandpa grew and gave me. I'm gonna see if this catches up, and I don't know, I'll pick whichever one is strongest because I don't think I can do 2 of these in one grow bag. So let's do peppers next since we are right here. So this is my pepper patch. Finally got all these planted last week. I have 13 peppers in this area, and it's probably, I don't know, 3 foot by 2.5 foot. So I have 4 Keystone resistant giant bells, and I did top, I think, almost all of these plants. So that hopefully will help them get bushier, and I also waited until it was warmer out to plant them. So I have 4 of those here. This is my 1 Chocolate Beauty bell, sweet bell. This is a cayenne, or just 1. And then I have 2 pepperoncinis right here. And then I also have 5 Craig's Grande jalapenos here, which if these all make jalapenos, it's gonna be a lot, but I'm gonna try to pickle some this year and use them for salsa and stuff like that. So last but not least, we have tomatoes. So up first, we have our Costa Luto Genovese, looking happy. Next we have our Ghost Cherry. This is the same plant I have in the grow bag. And this was planted like 2 weeks before the grow bag one, and the grow bag one is almost bigger than this one already. Next to that we have a Carbon tomato, which is another just like really dark black tomato. And I see this sucker has flowers on it, so it's fun for me. Next to that we have our very sad looking Amish paste, but I think it's still alive because look at all this green up here. It's very tall, so I'm just gonna leave it. And then we have 2 Aunt Ruby's German Green, looking pretty happy. And this one is a large red cherry, has some flowers on it. That. And then up over here we have 2 Kellogg's Breakfast, which is like a large yellow slicer tomato. And then we have our Chianti Rose, which is my all-time favorite tomato so far. And then we have our Thorburns Terracotta. And this is a very interesting tomato. It was first developed in like the 1800s and has just been, people have been saving seeds from that since then. And look, can you see that? There's a little baby tomato. All right, I gotta go past this squash. Next to that we have our triple crop, which is just a large red. We have our Blonde Girl Cherry. And we have our Pink Ox Heart. And Brandywine Black. And this one I think has had too much water because its leaves look a little sad. The Pineapple, which is the one I topped. And so this is a sucker and I'm letting that become the new top. The Cherokee Purple. And last but not least, we have our San Marzano, which is starting to set some flowers. So there it is, week 3 garden tour. It's starting to rain, so I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. Thank you for watching this moist garden tour, and I will see you in the next one.